skipping across the field, waving his arms up like this. And I've jumped on the field behind him. And some old guys hit me with a deck chair to try and keep me off the field. But I was only a tiny little kid at the time. Most of my friends at school were United fans. You go to the bar, and as you get older, a lot of United fans in the area. You work with a lot of United fans. Hence why I moved to the USA for 12 years to get away. I was actually out of the UK for 20 years. I actually moved to Holland after that, and then I moved to the Middle East after that. So I just got back here 6 years ago.
All right. Are you being serious? You moved because of United fans or no? I was like, wow.
I would have done.
Several years ago, at the height of the pandemic, I found a YouTube channel that I absolutely love called The Office Blokes. So I was absolutely honored to get the opportunity to interview Office Bloke Daz on my podcast. Office Bloke Daz has a sports channel where he and his son react to sports moments from all across the sporting spectrum. I thought it'd be a great opportunity to chat about my new favorite sport and the sport that Daz grew up playing, football. I hope you enjoy this podcast.
Yeah, I've been to all the grounds in the UK, certainly all the Premier League games.
Oh, really?
All the Premier League grounds that you're going to be seeing. So like coming up this season, even Luton. I've actually played on Luton's ground.
Really?
Yeah, as a youngster, yeah, we had a game down there for one of the teams I played for, and we used Luton Stadium. I wouldn't call it a stadium. It'd be probably a bit of an overreach calling it a stadium, but it's
that's the one. If I'm remembering correctly, because I'm like 9 months into this, they have like you have to walk through people's yards to get into
it's like a terraced house, a row of terraced houses, and their entrance is like straight through the terraced houses, so like it's built into the terraced houses, which is a little bit weird. Yeah, it's. I think they are having to change it this upcoming season because of Premier League rules sort of thing. So it's something they are looking at doing sort of thing. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my screen a little bit better.
Yeah.
I've got a problem with the chair. It's going lower and lower as we as I go along.
Luton's story is crazy. I think I actually did a reaction to it a couple months ago.
They have been in the top flight before. They actually relegated City in I'd probably say it was about 1983ish, something like that. I'm not sure of the year. My history in football all blends into one. But they were playing last game of the season, and we were at Main Road then at the time. I was only a young lad, probably 10 years old, 11 years old, if that. And I remember sitting behind the dugout where all the managers used to sit, and the final whistle went, and I actually jumped onto the field as David Pleat ran onto the field in his brown suit. It's quite a famous sort of like scene now in the English football program where you see David Pleat running across, who's the manager then of Luton. He's running across the field, so like skipping across the field, waving his arms up like this, and I've jumped on the field behind him. And some old guys hit me with a deck chair to try and keep me off the field. But I was only a tiny little kid at the time, But that's memories of Manchester City in their old stadium they used to play at in Main Road in Manchester.
That's crazy. So let's talk about City. I guess you grew up a fan. Is that like your club?
Yeah, that's my team. It's the closest ground to me where I was born is Manchester City. So I was born just south of Manchester. In an area, a suburb of Manchester called Wythenshawe, and then just the next town up from us was Moss Side, where City Stadium was originally. It's very different than also what it is now. We didn't win anything. We won a League Cup. I was born in 1972, and we won a League Cup in 1976. So I was actually at that game, but I didn't go inside. My dad took us. I had two older brothers and a younger sister. He took us all down with my mum to Wembley, and he wouldn't let any of us come in. So we had to walk around Wembley while my dad went into the game to watch the game and all that kind of stuff. And we won. We beat Newcastle in that game. Funny enough.
Wow.
Dennis Stewart scored the winning goal. Who Dennis Stewart went on to sign for the New York Cosmos to replace Pele.
Wow. Okay.
So Dennis is actually a friend of mine. I actually know Dennis. He lives around the corner from where I live.
Well, that's cool.
So I know Dennis quite well. Yeah.
That's really
tells
cool.
That story quite regular. We went on to appear in the FA Cup final in '81 against Tottenham, where it went to a replay. We got beat 3-2 in the replay. Ricky Villa was the star player there from Argentina. So we didn't win anything there, and then we didn't win anything until 2011.
Yeah.
So I was well into my life.
Yeah, and so I guess growing up, you're living in the shadow of United, I guess.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Most of my friends at school were United fans. You go to the bar, and as you get older, a lot of United fans in the area. You work with a lot of United fans. Hence why I moved to the USA for 12 years to get away.
Really?
I was actually out of the UK for 20 years. I actually moved to Holland after that, and then I moved to the Middle East after that. Then I just got back here 6 years ago.
Are you being serious? You moved because of United fans or no? I was like, wow.
I would have done.
I was like, I know you guys take this sport very seriously, but wow.
Yeah, it's funny. It's because it's a very the passion with fans is kind of hard to explain, because if you come into our office here, I mean, I don't know if you've seen the Office Blokes channel we have with Dave and Mike. They're both Manchester United fans, whereas I'm probably, myself and Aidan in the office and Gaynor, we're probably the only 3 City fans in the office. I think everyone else is either United. We've got a couple of Liverpool fans as well, but I think most of them are United fans. And when I come in, if City beat United and I come in, I'm walking around the offices, giving it the big in sort of thing. He does get quite argumentative and quite touchy. Believe it or not, your friendship goes out the window pretty quick. I was what was I, 40, almost 40 years old when we first won anything.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you about that old classic, like the commentary moment, the Aguero goal. Yeah. Can you give me some context around that? I don't really know that much about the whole beginning of the dynasty or whatever.
Yeah, what it came down with City is City have always been like, they were everybody in the UK. City were their second favourite team, and whoever says it wasn't, the lying, because it was one of them teams where everybody hated United because United were very successful. So everybody wanted City to do well to take United off the perch type thing. So City was everybody's favourite second team, without doubt. And then back in 2000, probably about 2006 time, there was a guy from Thailand who bought us called Thaksin Shinawatra. And he had a little bit of corruption behind him. He was causing all kinds of issue in Thailand, but he had the money to take us probably to the next level of the Premier League, where we could start buying half decent players, and we may get a top half finish, or we might get a top 5, top 6 finish. Didn't look like anyway. Eventually, he got done for corruption in Thailand. Sold the club to Sheikh Mansour of Abu Dhabi. At the time, I was living in Abu Dhabi, and people were saying, "Yeah, some of my friends were calling up, going, what's that? What have you done here? What's this takeover? Are you involved?" And I'm like, "Nothing to do with me. This is way out of my league."
Right.
And but the good thing is the owners then sort of like they kind of like brought us into the club a little bit as a fan group, if you want. They were asking us, questions, what they should call the supporters club, what they should do here, what we should be doing for the fans locally. And there was loads of interaction between the owners and our supporters club that we already had set up. So that was really good. And then obviously the money was pumped into, but a lot of people think the money's just pumped into the club. Where City's ground is a place called Ardwick or Beswick. It's like an Ardwick, Beswick. It's called East Manchester, but it's called Bradford was the actual area. Not Bradford, Yorkshire, to be mixed up with. There's a place called Bradford just in East Manchester. So they took over that site, and what that site was, it was a brownfield site. So it was like it was even worse. It was a chemical site. So there used to be a massive chemical company where taking out all that land that had gone bankrupt or they closed down. So City bought all that land. And they developed it into a training facility, hotels, apartments, putting in now a massive concert venue or an indoor arena, which is going to host like basketball, concerts, you name it. It's going to be doing all that. And then you've got a new one going in, which is going to be all hotels and a retail area, and then a big fan zone sort of thing with all things going on there. So that's really good what they've done for the area. They've cleaned up the area a lot, and it's becoming a very attractive area for real estate. It's increasing different things with schooling, people coming. They've done a great job for the immediate area of where City is. So plus they put a lot of money into the infrastructure of the club. They developed the ground, the stadium. They developed the training facilities, and now what they're doing is they're extending the stadium a little bit bigger. And then they've obviously invested in the team and the squad. We've probably got the best coach in the world with Pep Guardiola. I don't think there's anyone better. You probably associate him, if you're looking at American sort of sports, you probably associate him with Bill Belichick. I don't think there's anyone better than Bill Belichick probably in the NFL, or someone like Phil Jackson in the NBA. People like that, Steve Kerr. Right. You've got people like that you can compare him to. He knows the sport inside out. He lives and breathes the sport. He's crazy about it. And that's the development of City. They built massive foundations first before they went up from 2009 all the way up to today. It's been foundation building, and then the seeing now things sort of like develop on a big scale, especially in the junior team. You look at, we're selling people like Bazuna, the goalkeeper. We sold him for, I think, 13 to 19 million to Southampton. Romeo Lavia went to Southampton for a load of money. We're selling at the moment Carlos Borges, who's going to Ajax for 17 million. We've just sold James Trafford to I think did he go Burnley? I think for like 13 million. These are all people that no one's heard of. These are all low-end players that are coming through the academy. They're academy players that have been developed the City way, and now they're going into different places into different parts of the world, different teams around the world. We're getting good money for them. So we're starting to seeing good sort of like fruition come from the development of the academy.
Yeah,
so they're here to stay.
That reminds me kind of it reminds me of Belichick, but it also reminds me of like what Nick Saban did to Alabama.
100%, 100% that. Yeah.
So he comes in there, and they were horrible for many decades. He comes in and he transforms the way that they build things from the ground up, and so they're not going anywhere either.
Correct.
They've taken a little bit of a tumble, but
I'm looking at coming over to Alabama to watch a game for the Roll Tide.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm looking at coming over maybe November. So hopefully, I know November they play Auburn in Auburn, so that's probably something I might look at, or maybe just trying to go to a home game for Alabama.
Yeah, Bama Auburn is that's a hated rival.
I know. I'm not seeing that. Yeah. So but it'd be hard to go to Alabama with. It'd be hard to go to Auburn looking at supporting Alabama. And doing it that way, it'd probably be a little bit harder, So probably better off going to Tuscaloosa and sort of like seeing Alabama in play and doing it that way first. As me intro to that to college football.
Yeah, that's with me like the same. So my buddy that shows up on the channel sometimes, the Newcastle fan, he's a big Alabama fan. Like he's from Alabama, huge, and so I like to get after him sometimes because of like that. Did you ever watch the video of the ending of the Iron Bowl in 2013 with Auburn versus Alabama? Alabama lines up for like a 50-something yard field goal, and it's like 1 second left in the game to win the game, and the Auburn player returned it 108 yards for like the final moment of the game.
Yeah, so I have seen it. Yeah, incredible, right?
Yeah, I bring that up as often as possible to try to get under Corey's skin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's but going back to your football team, which to support a very similar team to that as well could be Liverpool.
Yeah,
they've also had the same success as what Manchester United have had. They've gone through some spells. They are probably a little bit better at the moment than what Manchester United are. Although last season they had a bit of a rough spell where they finished outside the top four, which probably might have cost them a few maybe players they're looking to buy. Finishing in the top four in the UK or in England gets you into the Champions League, as you probably know. Finishing outside that top four, a lot of players don't want to go to teams that are not in the Champions League now. So they'll take a hit. They'll even take a hit. Newcastle made it into the Champions League for next season. So the four teams that made it into the Champions League were City, Arsenal, Newcastle, and Manchester United.
I guess I hadn't thought about how that would actually affect your recruiting, or I don't know what you would call that. The
transfer policy. Yeah.
Right. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. And they've got a great fan base, a really good fan base, Newcastle. So that's an option. That's an option. If you want to go with an underdog, if you want to go with someone who's up and coming, but an underdog that you like thinking, they might do okay. Sheffield United could. I don't think they'll stay up. I think they'll go back down, but I think they'll give it a good go. Fulham's American owners again.
There's a team that I've been looking at that I think this coming year, there's several teams that I'm going to be watching. Like I'm just going to watch all of their games, try to see which one, whenever I watch them play, like what play style do I like the most? Storylines going on throughout the season. One of them, and one of the main reasons is, I don't know, you said you looked at a couple of my videos, but I have I've been doing a lot of deep dives into like tactics. So like I'll be looking at coaches and looking at tactics. I even I started reading Inverting the Pyramid. So it's pretty like heavy stuff. And so one of the managers that people mentioned I might like is actually De Zerbi at Brighton.
Brighton. Yep.
And so I watched them play. It was only one of their friendly matches that they played over here against Newcastle. Actually, that's who it was. Yep. And I loved watching the way that they played, the way that they it just something about the way that they played was awesome. So I'm going to be watching Brighton this year coming year.
You could be right. Brighton are a very good football team. They play great football. Even prior to De Zerbi coming, they had Graham Potter, who went to Chelsea.
Okay.
And then Chelsea fired him. But he's another footballing guy where we call them footballing guys because what happens is you get some coaches that come in and all they want to do is they had one come into Leeds at the end of last season, which was Sam Allardyce.
Okay.
Big Sam as he's known. He's known for his no-nonsense style tactics of kicking the ball high up front, kick and chase type thing. Whereas you get coaches like Guardiola, De Zerbi, who've got that thing where they don't want to kick it, they want to pass it out from the back.
Right.
So they want to play from the back, pass it out through the defense, and come back through the midfield, and then change the midfield, the style of the midfield, how it goes through. But with De Zerbi, the one thing, if you're looking at a club for the manager, with De Zerbi, be careful with De Zerbi with Brighton because he might not keep hold of him.
Okay, yeah.
If a big club comes in for De Zerbi, so if say for instance something doesn't happen, let's say Ten Hag at United doesn't succeed and he's a failure. If he loses 5-6 games in a row at the start of the season, United will be looking to change. And if United are going to look to change, Chelsea's another one that's open to change. Liverpool might look at changing their manager. He's been there quite a long time. If he doesn't bring success now, they might look at changing him. De Zerbi's definitely going to be in that list of taking people.
Gotcha.
And even when you look at Bayern Munich, Bayern Munich's another team. I know I think he's Italian, De Zerbi. So you look at even the Italian teams are struggling. So you might get an AC Milan, a Juventus, Inter, people out who may be looking to change their manager. De Zerbi's definitely going to be on that list for them big clubs.
Yeah.
So he may not see out the whole season at Brighton, even though he might do really well at Brighton. He may be poached to go somewhere else. So
that's good to think about. I don't know that I would actually ever choose a team just based on the manager, but they are one of the, I think people mentioned him to me, and when I watched Brighton play, I really liked what I saw.
Yeah.
And yeah, I do. To back up, I do like the like Pep's style of managing. I much prefer building up from the back. Like the teams that I've watched you do that instead of playing the long
Yeah.
To me, it feels like it's too risky. Like you're risking a lot by going the long ball game. But when you play the build up, I don't know. The American football side of me loves possession.
Yeah.
And loves, if I have the ball longer than you do, then most likely the outcome is going to be better.
Yeah. And that's how Pep thinks. And a lot of the managers that have come into the Premier League are going the same way as what Pep thinks. So they're doing it in the same way. So he's a lot of copy tactics. Pep brought this thing in last season where he brought a right full back in. So you regularly what would be your traditional number 2. He would come and he'd move from the right back and he'd move into right side midfield and then form it like a back 3. He kind of brought that in last season. Now all of a sudden everybody's looking for a right back who can play right midfield. So everyone's looking for that same. So a lot of people are copying his tactics. And don't get me wrong, Pep probably copies the tactics of what Johan Cruyff brought to Ajax many years ago at Barcelona. So he's only copying other people's as well that were good at the game. So
when he moves that, okay, I'm going to be probably talking above my head for a second.
Okay, go for it.
Trying to learn this. So if he moves that player into the midfield and he's playing like a back 3.
Play goes to a back 3, yeah. Yeah.
So is that like the Cruyff?
Cruyff would have done the same, yeah.
Because he has that pyramid in the middle or that diamond shape.
Yeah. And that's the way they put it together. They always say if you can put 3 players around the player, you're never going to lose the ball. Because then it gives you time to hunt the ball as well. As soon as you lose it, you're straight back onto it to hunt it with 3 players around it. So it's a style of play. So they never really move. They transition rather than transition with a long ball that gets punted from one side to the other. They transition through plays from defense to midfield to attack. Or even a counter attack to an attack. So that's complicated to learn. It's like you trying to tell me the playbook.
Right.
You'd just be like, nah. You might get 1 or 2, but the rest of it's it's all a bit foreign.
I'm trying
the game.
Yeah, I'm trying my best to work it out because, like I said, when I started, I think that was actually the biggest thing for me when I actually started realizing what they were doing and that it's not just them kicking the ball around aimlessly. Like there's actually strategy going on.
Yeah,
that's when it started to really click for me because I coached American football,
right,
and played American football. So I love the actual tactics. I'll sit down. I'll just literally sit down. You can't see it because it's too bright, and just draw. Just draw out American football plays. I sit there and script things, and so when I started learning more about the game, and the tactics behind it, then I started really just falling in love with it. And so I'm actually trying to get my coaching license right now to help to coach a team here in the city. And so, I'm like all in the game now.
Where's the closest soccer team to you then, as a MLS team?
It's hard to say the closest. Probably Atlanta is the closest.
Right. Yeah.
But my home club is FC Dallas. So like,
yeah.
So coming from that area, I try to catch FC Dallas as much as possible. But New Orleans is getting a minor league team, I guess. It's USL. So they're working on getting a team here in the city. So there will be a local club, but I don't know if they even have a name yet. It's just kind of
right. Well, it's a start, isn't it?
Yeah. Nice. And so that's really exciting for us. Like I'm trying to play. Like I've been trying to learn. And boy, it is such a different thing to learn how to use my feet and not like my hands.
Go pick the ball up. Yeah.
Right.
It's a very, mate. I've played all my life, and I stopped playing a couple of years ago. When I say stopped, it kind of like went away. The teams went away with COVID and all that kind of stuff. So we just I've never went back. And we were talking the other day of rejoining. I'm 50 years old now, so it's like trying to play somewhere in an over 50s league. And then what happens is you play in an over 45s league. Then you get someone who turns up because the shorter players. They bring the brother or the cousin or whoever, and all of a sudden these 38-year-olds playing in there and 32-year-olds, and you get a 26-year-old, and you're like, it's back to I might as well play open football. Might as well just go in the open league and play, but I can't keep up with them anymore. Right. And then they cry when you kick them a little bit, and they don't like that style of play. And I say, well, that's what you're coming into, But it's but playing football. I've played with many players. Some of them who were borderline pro. Some of them who made pro, and went on to be decent players. It's such a hard game to play, and a lot of people don't get that. It's constant. It's 90 minutes of running. Yeah, and I've seen super fit guys show up and go, I can play, and then 5 minutes in, they've got the head off the side of the pitch throwing up because they can't keep up with the run. It's a different style of run. It's a different style of play. And I always say to people who they say, soccer's for whatever, give you names in it. I say, come and play it. Come and try it.
Right.
I'd murder you, and I say, come and try it. And then when they try it, I didn't think it'd be that hard.
Yeah, no, it's wild. And in fact, I think that was one of the things that I first noticed, because I had this notion of the game as sort of a weaker sport. And then you watch how physical it actually is, like with positioning and people trying to get positioning. I was like, wow, there's a lot more pushing and shoving going on here than I expected.
Yeah. But it's good you get into it. But I think going back to your teams you're watching, I think Brighton is definitely a very good team to keep your eye on because they are a very good footballing side. I'm just trying to think of the other ones. Fulham's also got a very good footballing manager with Marco Silva. So he's a very talented manager. I think he'll take Fulham quite a distance. And I think he might be another one that may leave because it might be hard for him to keep hold of him. Especially when you look at teams, you're going to look at teams like Everton, who might be looking for a new manager very soon. I know they've just got a new manager, but they'll be looking for different people. If it doesn't work out, the promoted teams, when they come up, if they don't get off to a good start, they're instantly looking for new management. To try and keep them in. The idea now is to try and keep them teams in the Premier League. Obviously, with the relegation, because if you finish in the bottom three, you're back down into the Championship. And teams like Burnley, I think Burnley that have come up, Sheffield United and Luton. Burnley might be okay because they've got Vincent Kompany, who's trained from Pep. He's got his Pep ways. Absolutely murdered the Championship last season, won by a good clear margin way before the end of the season. That they may be okay. They've signed some decent players on loan, so they may struggle a little bit, but they may be okay. Luton are going to struggle big time, and Sheffield United are probably going to have a hard season. But Sheffield United play with passion. They've got a good fan base. It's a great atmosphere at the stadium at Bramall Lane. So they may get by just with that extra man of the crowd there. But I think Luton are definitely going to struggle, and I think I can see Everton struggling. If Everton don't make big changes, they're going to struggle. They've got Sean Dyche there now. He's got the know-how in the Premier League to keep people survive the Premier League. He was Burnley's manager for many years.
Yeah, I was going to ask. I thought I watched a masterclass tactics video, and I think he was explaining a Burnley game. So when you say that name, I associated with Burnley, even though I don't know anything about them. But
yeah, you might want to send that DVD back if Sean Dyche is giving a masterclass on coaching.
Yeah, so I've heard that. Like, he was just describing the 4-4-2. I was trying to learn how the different formations work, and so he was doing a video on that. But yeah.
It's good to know. It's good to know. But the best way to watch it, mate, is just enjoy the game.
Yeah,
watch as much as you can and enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah,
you get them on at decent times over there as well. I think the early game is probably a little bit too early for you. I think probably 6 maybe
6 a.m. and then
2. But then the 5 o'clock game will be perfect for you. 5 o'clock game on a Saturday, 5 o'clock game on a Sunday, 4 o'clock, whatever it is. That's perfect time for you. 10, 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So you got the right times there to watch. And then the midweek games that are on in the night, the 8 o'clock kickoffs over here, predominantly 7:45. So what's that over there? 2:45.
I think that game is at 2 over here. I think. Yeah. So
that'd be great for you to know things like that.
Yeah. This next year, I'm going to be definitely following it. I think one of the things that I notice about a lot of Americans who get into the game is we love watching it played in Europe, but we don't really support the MLS very, very much. Which I think that's changing since Messi came here. But
seems that way.
Yeah. So like, I actually started catching up with MLS games after seeing Messi show up, and so I think that's going to be helpful.
I think you'll find that around the world as well. A lot of people will be watching the MLS now because of Messi being there. I know they've had it before with people like Ibrahimovic going there, Beckham, Gerrard, big names that have been going before, but this is different with Messi. Messi's probably the best player that's ever played the game. Yeah. So it's kind of like it's a little bit different. And I think the hype behind Messi, if he has a good season and if he brings Miami into a decent level of because they've had Miami's been rubbish over the last few years with Phil Neville being there. He's another one. If you see a coaching masterclass on Phil Neville, you don't watch it.
Okay.
Doing your own. Yeah. But if you go to with what Messi's bringing in, if he can push Miami up the league, maybe next season or push him to win the cup or something like that, then who knows where it'll go? That'll send people crazy, and it'll encourage maybe some of the other franchises to bring them same big names in and build that league up to what it should be. I
was concerned that it was going to be just like what happened with Ibrahimovic and with Pele coming over here. Like I was expecting it to be like, we got a great player coming at the end of his career and nobody's really going to care that much. But the difference is, I think, with Messi is, one, he's way more popular than any other player, maybe besides Ronaldo, in the world. Yeah. And so with him coming here, you've got so many kids that are like really like the young kids wearing Messi jerseys. They've been wearing Messi jerseys for the Argentina jerseys for last couple of years. So you've got a lot of young fans who are so excited that he's here. I think that's going to just the popularity of the sport at the ground level is going to be different with Messi than it was with those other two legends.
But the other thing you've got there as well is when you've got people like David Beckham coming in or Zlatan Ibrahimovic, as opposed to Messi. Messi's got that Latino connection. So Messi's from South America. So coming into Miami as well. I mean, a lot of the players who play, when I used to play in the USA, a lot of the players were South American. So when they got like the way you put it, one of their own coming in from South America, it kind of gives them a big lift as well because he's one of us. He knows how we are. He knows how we behave. He knows how we play. He knows our style of play. He knows what fans expect. So he's got Ibrahimovic and Beckham don't have that because you're going in there. They're not appealing to people because it's not the same. Now you've got the South American coming in who's coming in there to sort of like you're merging the two continents if you want into one. So I say let's put the US football on the map with a South American flavor.
That's actually a part of it. I hadn't even considered that because the Hispanic like community in America is they're all like big soccer fans, and so having him come out here, that's a big thing.
Especially when you think about him doing interviews on the TV, he's going to be speaking Spanish. He doesn't. I don't even think he speaks English. So most of his interviews are going to be done in Spanish. So you know your Spanish TVs and stuff like when they get them, the people are going to be tuning in. If you've got a group of families, say from from Mexico or from Paraguay or whatever in South America, and they're living in the USA and they're watching on TV, they prefer to listen to it in Spanish. and it gives them more of an appeal. They don't want to listen to Ibrahimovic speaking in English. They want to listen to Messi speaking in Spanish, and that's where it's going to merge the two to be. And that's my opinion. And I think
I think
that's the appeal.
I think that's a good point. I hadn't even thought about. There've been so many things I've been thinking about with Messi coming here and what it does for the sport over here. But I think like after watching some MLS games, and watching the quality of the players, it's not good. It's getting better.
It is getting very good. I mean, you look at people like Sergio Busquets that's coming in as well. For Inter Miami. He's also a world class player. He's a World Cup winner. He's got a lot of pedigree that comes with him with Sergio Busquets. And then I've seen some of the players that play. I've seen some of the MLS games, and it's not Premier League quality without a doubt. You're definitely right there. It's definitely not. It'd be like watching a European league doing the NFL. But then again, if we got Tom Brady that came over to a Euro League in the NFL, even at his stage of career now, where he's retired and finished, if he came to the NFL in Europe and it was Euro NFL, he'll kickstart it without a doubt.
Yeah.
He'll kickstart it. Although the standard will be lower, which obviously the MLS is lower than what it is in the Premier League is the highest in the world. I wouldn't try and compare the soccer that's played in the Premier League to anywhere else.
Right.
It's the highest in the world at the moment.
One thing that I would love to see for us is I would love to see U.S. players coming up and playing in the MLS because it seems like some of the best that we have are all playing in Europe. Like looking at almost into the entire starting 11 for the men's team, all play clubs in Europe or elsewhere.
Yeah, that's where the money is at the end of the day, Luke. So what you've got is you look at like if I was really good at NFL, or if I was really good at ice hockey, I'd be playing in the NHL or the NFL. I wouldn't be playing in a league in Europe that's not paying anywhere near. I don't know what the salary caps are like. I mean, you're going to get the exceptions with people like Messi, Biscuits, people like that where they're coming across, they're getting paid a little bit more. But if you're going into if you're someone like Aronson or Robinson, Robinson could probably get somewhere in the region of Robinson's probably on about $80,000 to $100,000 a week down in Fulham, but you're probably not going to get that in the MLS.
Wow, yeah, that's a big part of it. There's not a lot of money in it here, I guess, but it would be good to see the sport growing, like I said, at the youth level and the grassroots level, because as that continues to grow, we start actually having better players coming up through the academies here. Like actually, I think FC Dallas has one of the better youth academies in the MLS. Like the Jesus Ferreira grew up through their academy. Now he's their starter, and now he's like on the men's team, and he's a good player.
Well, another way to look at it as well from an outsider, from my perspective, looking at the soccer that goes on in the USA. When you look at the main USA sports, you've got the NFL, the NBA, NHL, MLB, right? So they're your four main sports probably. If you take into consideration how many people make it in all sports, from the college level that go into the NFL, the college level that go into the NBA. I mean, NBA is probably a little bit different. They're probably a different kind of like style of sportsman than what you need to play soccer, than what you would, an NFL player could probably fit quite well into soccer. An MLB player, probably, with the running and everything goes on the sprinting round. The NBA is sort of like predominantly, 6'7" sort of size guys. Right. Whereas, your point guards are a little bit smaller, but again, probably not in the same. It's probably not the same as that you've got in the in soccer than what you have with NBA. But if you get a wide receiver or a running back or a tight end, they'd all fit quite easily into a soccer team, quite easily. And if you've got that option where they're thinking, I might not make it to the NFL, or I might not make it as a good player, a good level NFL player, or a good American football player. Well, what's my next option? The next option is I might be a very good soccer player, and I can make a living out of doing that. And if I am very good, then you've got the options of going to different leagues around the world because it's played all over the world.
Yeah, and I think. Yeah, I think if the U.S. ever really takes the sport seriously, which I think that's actually starting to be the case.
Yeah.
I think we have it's a big country, so we have a huge talent pool and great athletes, and I think that we could actually start to be one of the countries who's doing well. I expect the men's team to do well in the next World Cup. I don't expect them to make it that far, but I expect them to do really well.
It's a cup competition. You never know. With cup competitions, you need a little bit of luck, and you need some decent players, and that's half the battle. And if you can get that little bit of luck, anything can happen. You could be, you never know. You could be going up against Argentina, and all of a sudden Messi's injured.
Right. Yeah.
That Argentina dynamic changes dramatically. They're not still a good team, but not as good as they would be with Messi in that team.
Yeah, I saw that somebody commented that about Brazil in 2014, that Neymar goes down in the match before they lose to Germany. I think Germany was still winning that match, but they like to. I guess that's a great excuse to use that. Well, Neymar went down, but
every excuse you can think of if you get the
7-1,
7-0, was it something like 7-1?
7-1, yeah. Oh, also crazy! I had a subscriber comment about that 7-1 that he had bet something like 8,000 to something, like the odds were ridiculous.
Yeah.
For us, he had bet 7-0 to Germany, and they scored that one goal in the 90th minute, and he said everyone in the pub that he was watching, they were all like, "Oh, okay, wow," and he was like,
my wife said to the kids, I said, "We'll watch the Germany Brazil game," and my wife said to me, this is before it even started, and she said, "Oh, it's already finished." She was joking because she didn't want to watch it. She went, "It's already finished. Germany beat Brazil 7-0.
Wow.
That's what she said before it even started. So she had the same.
Wow.
Same sort of thing.
That is crazy.
A little bit weird. Yeah.
That is wild. Now I don't know. I don't want to hold you too long, so go ahead and I guess I wanted to get your perspective just a little bit back on City again, because I'm trying to learn about these clubs. So I watched the commentary on Aguero's goal, and it's obviously like this huge moment. That's like the beginning of y'all's dynasty. Is that
that was the first time we won the league. What happened there was, with that commentary, the commentator there was a guy called Martin Tyler. He's now retired this season. It'd be the first time I've never heard Martin Tyler commentate in a game, probably.
Really?
In a season, yeah. He's been working probably 50 years at the bloody doing commentary. Don't know how long it's actually been, but for as long as I can remember, Martin Tyler's been one of the main commentators on the football over here. And for him to get excited, he's not a City fan, but he's I'm not too sure what team he supports. Maybe United, I'm not sure. But for him to get that excited and Aguero and go all out like that, then it shows the passion of football which some guy has. When you think about the emotion that went into that game, it was all we had to do was win against QPR, and then all of a sudden we're getting beat 2-1 going into the 90th minute, and there's no way we're gonna, even if we get a draw, we're still not good enough. United have won, their game's finished, it's over. So
can you explain
as it stands with everyone on the last game of the season? Every game has to be played at the same time, so kickoff is exactly the same time for every game. Now, obviously, games are going to change. Games are going to change as they progress, because you're going to have stoppage time in the first half. So the second half might start a few minutes later, and then you might have more stoppage time. So what had happened was City were playing QPR and United were playing.
Could you explain what QPR is real quick?
Queen's Park Rangers. Sorry, that's a team in London.
Okay.
They're a team based in London called Queen's Park Rangers. They call them QPR for short. So we're playing against them at City at home, and United were away. I want to say they were away to somewhere like Middlesbrough. I can't remember, but they were away somewhere, and their game had finished and they'd won 1-0. So they now, as it stands, we were losing 2-1. They were winning. As it stands, they were more points than us. So we needed to win. So we got a goal from Dzeko, and I said to me, I wasn't at the game, I was living in the Middle East at the time, and I said to my mate who stood next to me, I said, "We will still get one more chance. We've just got to score." And then Aguero gets it, and Aguero scores, and then we just went ballistic, and it's the rest is history sort of thing, and that made us win the league. And that was our first league. That was our first league win since 1967. So
that's huge.
Yeah. So
that's huge.
I've never seen us win the league until that moment. That's the first time I've ever seen us win the league.
And United totally thought they had it because they had won their game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that. I didn't.
But now we have a song about that as well.
Oh, really?
Well, they weren't at Middlesbrough, they're at Sunderland, because that's how the song goes. And the song goes, you thought you won the league at Sunderland. You'd not. You thought you were the champions. You're not. You're not. Upstepped in half time, scored a goal in Fergie time. Sergio Aguero, City of Champions. And that's how the song goes. It's we have a song for everything over here with football.
I love watching the songs and the chants.
Chants, yeah.
Some of them are hilarious, man.
Yeah, some great ones that come up. Some of them are just invented like at half time. You could be in the sort of like area, what do you call it, service area at half time, and you'll see someone start singing a song, then all of a sudden more pick it up, and before you know it, in the second half, the whole stadium's singing it.
Wow.
Yeah,
that is crazy.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, especially when you go to the USA and you see most of the chants that come from the USA are very similar.
Yeah,
USA, it's you suck, and things like that. So they're all very similar sort of thing. Whereas in England, it's the fans are very creative with the songs and very very offensive as well. I must add, which is good. Yeah, which is quite funny to see. Yeah, I
love watching the creativity of the songs and the chants, and we don't have anything like that over here. Like in the NFL especially, I don't think any of it. We're more chaotic when it comes to we just want to be rowdy and just go crazy. But I mean, Philadelphia has the Fly Eagles Fly song that they sing, but you have a few clubs here and there, but most of the part we're just drunk and going crazy. That's pretty much it.
And there's no wrong with that. I see some of the entrances and I see some of the atmospheres of the college football. The Penn State Whiteout or the things like that. And it's absolutely fantastic what you see. The atmospheres are great. So it doesn't necessarily you don't need the singing, but in the English football game, it's very tribal and very very offensive, I would say. So it's they are cracking down on a lot of the offensive chanting now, which if it's too offensive, you can get arrested for it now.
Yeah, I saw that they shut down USA versus Mexico early because of offensive chants. So I know that they're starting to crack down on that.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. But it's like I say, keep watching the game, mate. That's the main thing. How you'll learn is just watch as many games as you can, and you'll pick it up from the commentators. Pick it up from you pick it up yourself, just watching how people play, what positions everyone's playing, what formations. Right. And once you've got your formations, if you only picked up towards the end of last season, go into this season, you'll see a lot of the teams have hopefully closed the gap on City. Not hopefully for me, but hopefully for the neutral fan, close the gap on what City's domination is, because we just a steam. At the end of the night, it's a steam train. It goes flying towards the second part of the season. We've got such a strong squad that it's hard to keep up with us. We've got a great manager and a strong squad. And Arsenal tried to do it last season. This season Arsenal might see a little bit different because they're in the Champions League, so they've got to play an extra game. The extra games that go in the Champions League. If you stay in the cup competitions longer, you're going through there. Right. Whereas City played every game. City played every game in the FA Cup, every game in the Champions League, every game in the league. The only cup we went out of early was the League Cup. Which is kind of like it's a secondary cup. It's not really. If you put two cups together with the FA Cup and the League Cup, the FA Cup's way up here. League Cup's kind of like a lot of teams play the second teams or fringe players. So it's not doesn't have really the same appeal as the league or the Champions League or the FA Cup, which City won all three this year. So it's called the treble. It's only been done once before, winning the treble in England, which has been done by Manchester United in 1999. So
both the Manchester.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, both. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, all right, mate.
Yeah,
I probably keep on the teams and see which one, and we'll catch up again maybe when the season starts. Season starts next week.
Yeah. That's another thing that I'm excited about is the fact that it felt like it just ended and now it's starting up again, and that's exciting.
Yeah, seems like a lifetime to me. Yeah,
right. But it's exciting for me because the end of the American football season is in February and it doesn't start until August. And so it's, it's brutal the whole off season, just waiting for the games to start. So,
watching baseball.
Yeah. And I don't really even enjoy baseball. I'm kind of interested this time because the Texas Rangers are playing well again, but they're a cursed team. So, so in fact, I should have.
There's a game on Saturday, so as well. Sunday, sorry. There's a game on Sunday which is called the Community Shield.
Okay.
It's kickoff. I think the kickoff's 4:00 here, which is about that'll be 10:00 your time, I think.
Mm-hmm.
and you probably get it on I don't know which channels show the soccer over there, but you probably get it on one of the channels. Probably NBC.
Yeah, I think Premier League games get streamed on Peacock for us, so that's
Peacock, right. Okay.
It's NBC. Yeah.
So if you watch, if you look out for that on Sunday, it's what they call a curtain raiser for the start of the league, and it's called the Community Shield, and it's usually played between the league winners and the FA Cup winners. But because City won both, we now play the team that finished second in the league, which is Arsenal. So it's City v Arsenal on Sunday in the Community Shield.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I probably should have done this early on in the interview, but if you're watching this from my channel, Office Bloke Daz has a sports channel with him and his son, Office Bloke Daz Sports Edition. If I'm correct with that. Yep. I will put a link to that channel in the description of this video, so go over there and subscribe to him. They do a lot of they cover both English football, American football. They cover all kinds of sports.
We don't really do much English football, to be honest, mate. It's we're trying to sort of although my son's American, I would say he was born in America, he was born in New Jersey, so he classifies as my American correspondent, but he doesn't know. He knows a lot about NBA, but that's probably about as far as it goes. So we're trying to learn a bit more about baseball, a bit more about NFL, but a lot more about college football more than anything. And obviously NHL as well, ice hockey. We're getting into that as well. But we've tried to cover a lot of sports. When the Premier League season starts, we may cover a little bit of Premier League, but probably not a lot. We go to the games. Might see us live. We may call you up live.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Live chat from the ground.
I'd like to. I'd definitely like to keep in touch as the season goes on. It'd be cool to have somebody who's like actually invested in a club, like to talk with and chat about the game.
We go to most games. So it's we've got the opening games at Burnley away, which is not far from where we are. It's probably about you can probably drive to Burnley in about 45-50 minutes. So
gotcha. It's exciting. If everything goes well, and I'm trying like work. The channel's growing very fast, and I'm very thankful to my subscribers. But if everything goes well, I should be to a point where probably somewhere in the middle of the season, I'm going to try to make a trip over and actually go visit a game in person. And that'd be something. Be a blast to actually be in the environment. I still haven't gone to a game, and that's going to be exciting.
Yeah. Well, another one to look out for as well. If you see the success of the Cleveland Browns over the years, how much they suck, you could be a Spurs fan.
Okay. People know on this channel, I was toying with Tottenham because I like Harry Kane and I like Son. Yeah. And everyone is telling me don't. So
don't do it. Life of misery.
Life of misery. Okay.
Kane might be gone. Kane's talks about Kane going to Bayern Munich, so he may be gone. So Son's not been playing well for the last season.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard many people say do not support Tottenham. It'll be miserable. So I will listen. I think.
Keep away. If you want a London team, go with someone like go with Fulham.
Okay.
For a London team, Northern team. If you want a Northern team in the Northwest up here, go with Man City. If you want a Midlands team, go with Aston Villa. And a Northeast Newcastle.
They're interesting to me. Aston Villa is.
Villa might finish in the top 4 this season.
Really?
I think Villa are going to be got a good manager. He's made some good signings. He's a very shrewd manager, that guy. He's I think he's very defensive minded, so they won't concede many. But I fancy Villa to be top 4.
Wow.
To be pushing.